Hi, and welcome to How We Work Now, where we explore how people are reshaping the modern workplace through lived experience with neurodiversity, chronic illness, and disability. Today, I'm joined by Chaya Mallavaram, founder and host of the Spark Launch podcast. Through her work, Chaya recreates space for honest conversations about neurodivergence, mental health, identity, and what it actually takes to build meaningful work without burning yourself out in the process. She brings a deeply human, reflective lens to entrepreneurship and storytelling, and draws on her lived experience with ADHD to question many of the assumptions we still hold about productivity and success. So glad to have you here with us today, Chaya. Please introduce yourself to our viewers in your own words.
Oh, wow. Thank you. You did such a good job with the introduction. Yeah, I want to share that I'm the founder and CEO of Spark Launch, the company, and also a co-host at Spark Launch podcast. At Spark Launch, we are building a learning platform for neurodivergent children, which is game-based, AI-powered, fun, engaging, because I think life should be filled with joy and curiosity. And that's what we're building for the next generation. You always want to leave a lasting effect with whatever you do. And so I was deeply called for this, and I have an amazing team, and I'm excited with what we're doing at Spark Launch.
Thank you. I love it. So, why don't you walk us through your path to founding Spark Launch and, how that idea came to you?
Oh boy, if somebody had ever told me that I was going to start an ed tech and a health tech platform a few years ago, I would have thought they were kidding, joking, hallucinating. But it was a very deeply called mission. A lot of my challenges came during the pandemic when my son, who's now 21 and thriving, was diagnosed with ADHD. And it was some of the comments that the teachers made in school, which made me go back and Google, and they were all showing pointing towards ADHD. So I called his pediatrician, and we got a diagnosis, which took formal diagnosis, back then without the mask and with a glass door, and it was crazy times. And but and he was diagnosed with ADHD. But when somebody gets diagnosed, it means that them and the family is going through a series of challenges, and so all of that made me go inwards, and I realized, boy, that's me, and I've always had these challenges. And I also realized how I overcame my challenges. That was the key part. Most of my challenges were in school and college with education, and also, of course, emotional regulation, which I should say I really conquered it right after that incident, during the times when my son was diagnosed with ADHD, because there was a lot of emotions and understanding different personalities at home and conflict, and but I loved my son, so I had to go inwards and figure out what was I doing wrong as a parent, and that made me shift and learn and realize that it's not just a child, and there's nothing wrong with the child, and it's the systems, and a lot of it, the conflict was because I was forcing him to fit into a system that I had somehow managed to fit into. And so if I could do it, he could do it. And that's when I dove into spirituality, and I realized the soul is here to come and live and experience things, and it's not meant to become somebody else, somebody that they're not. And so that was one of the deep reasons that I had to do it for others, because I realized the joy is doing what you love, and when you do it for others as a service. And so I left my job that I loved. Actually, I love coding and art, and which I did on the side, but I left that to start Spark Launch, which was to make that shift was very challenging, but I did it.
Yeah, I love that mental shift from kind of how can we fit into the systems that are here today that we are pressured to fit into to, maybe screw those systems if they're not working for you. How can we build systems that fit for what I actually need instead of forcing myself to be someone I'm not?
Exactly.
That's what I'm all about, and I love.
Yeah, it's about creating systems because that's how humanity evolves.
Hmm. So, speaking of systems, in running Spark Launch, how have you intentionally shaped some of your work and created systems to support your ADHD instead of fighting it?
Since I'm the founder, I can do what I want.
Yeah,
I love that freedom,
perks
and
of the job.
yeah, and I honor the same with my team, and a few of them are neurodivergent, and I respect that, and I get to know them really well, and I figure out what their strengths are, and I just work with that. And I'm so open about everything. I'm pretty straightforward. If you ask anyone, there's nothing that's uh, hidden. Of course, I think I could be mysterious, but other than that, I just give them flexibility. And when you uh, discuss the output together in collaboration, there are no surprises. And if you're in constant touch with your people, it not only brings joy but connectivity.
Okay. So, what systems and tools have you used personally to help deal with your experiences with neurodivergence with ADHD?
I love AI, love chat. Finally, I feel something can understand me and get that nonlinear thinking, especially with nonlinear, because our thoughts are random and need not flow a process. And love that forgiving nature, understanding nature of AI. And that's the only tool, I would say, which has accelerated the process, because it's still you. It's still you. It has to be you, and that's how humanity is going to grow, because in that authenticity. And then you use AI to accelerate. So the partnership between you as a person and AI together will amplify your energy. And um, uh, I've been doing that, and just for the team, we use instant messaging, flexibility. I don't have to meet them in person. We're all in different parts of the world, and we collaborate when we can, and there's honor and respect, and that's what I love.
Yeah, I think there's so much discourse about AI and the pros and cons, and a lot of people focus on all of the bad things about AI, which there are a lot of, negatives and ways it's being used improperly. But I think the ways that it can be such an invaluable tool for different people and allow people that might not otherwise have had the ability to accomplish certain things to really go far, I think is something that should be talked about more, especially when it comes to neurodivergence. I like to call generative AI like my neurodivergent translator because it's really good at taking things and I'm like, I'm not sure what the subtext is behind this. Can you please explain what the context is going on? And it'll tell me like, okay, glad I didn't miss that. So I
Yeah,
can, respond appropriately to certain things.
yeah. It's all about how you use the tool.
Hmm. Yeah,
Anything can be
exactly.
good or bad. It's all about the usability.
I agree. So what ways has, designing your work around your specific needs helped make your output better?
Can you repeat that again? My mind did wander.
Yeah. So, in what ways has kind of redesigning your work around your ADHD and
Oh my,
your specific
yes.
need help make your output better?
Yeah, I love that. So just honoring my authenticity and knowing who I am, and honoring my gifts, and just doing that, and also I know my challenges. So I work with my challenges, and I would say I the biggest strength is living in your strengths. And I think I am mostly in my strengths, but we also have to work through our challenges. But there are tools, right, for organization, and for just prioritization. I just use notes. Like there's no fixed tool, but sometimes I just open up Gmail and write everything in the draft. So whatever I can get, but I would say technology has really helped with the growth, and so just um, living in that strengths, and honoring the same with others. Um, has really helped with what I'm doing, and even speaking about it. Just because everything was all shut off and was suppressed, and just speaking about that has given freedom, um, and it's all out now. It's just coming out, and there's wisdom in that.
So let's speak more about kind of challenging the status quo and the systems that, exist widely. How do you push back against the idea that consistency has to look the same for every person?
I would ask people to be open-minded, because they're losing out on rules that were made back in the industrial civilization, right? Going to work 9 to 5, and just looking at judging someone by how they're behaving. Like sitting on the desk and looking at the computer does not mean that they're productively working. And so just understanding the people, and understanding it's actually going to affect their bottom line, because that's what businesses are about numbers, and hopefully they want to actually also do good, which most of them are. But also there's that focus on numbers. So I want to say they will do better if you include, accommodate neurodivergent, and allow them to define their own way of being consistent.
Mhm.
For me, the way, let's just talk about consistency. For me, I get thoughts and ideas, and I'm more creative in the morning. So it's just, I get these downloads, whether I'm writing or for my company. So I just um, I figured out morning is my creative time, and so I plan and my future in the morning, and then later on I work on scheduling and things like that. So if you give freedom to your employees and actually look at the output, if you have to
Mhm.
judge them, it's based on what have you both agreed on, and are we meeting those expectations, and also allow for that flexibility, because in reality, the world does not work like that. The universe does not work on deadlines. It's all man-made, and so if you allow for that flexibility, and yeah, you will create systems where everybody is honored, every brain type is honored, because you have to believe that there is a gift in everybody. If we don't, if our mind thinks only one way, you'll only see one way. So you have to open up, and that's what I ask for other organizations, to just open up their mind and not be
Mhm.
boxed in. with what they might have learned because it's outdated.
Right, because diversity is survival. It's, how you see new pathways and avenues. And I think the importance of diversity is understated, not just from a being a decent human being kind of perspective, but also just from a like financial perspective. It helps you get a competitive edge and see other things that companies that, aren't diversifying and are focusing on just the status quo aren't going to be able to see.
And also to drop the hierarchy. I have to say that because if you just wait for someone to climb up the ladder to become creative and become nonlinear thinker, you're going to lose out. Uh,
Mm.
and so if the hierarchy is somehow minimized and just allow for everybody to speak from themselves and not just cling to job titles,
Yeah, yeah.
that would really open up. When you allow for people to speak, they will show up.
Hmm. I love that because job titles are all man-made. Ideas, the hierarchy is, it's a real thing in that it has consequences in the real world, but it is also a fake thing in that it's something that we made up and decided is in place, and we all just play along with the rules. So
Yes,
it's important to look at these structures and be like, how are they hurting us in
I
addition to just how they're helping us?
true. I've always believed rules are meant to be broken,
Yes.
and I've always been a rebel, questioned every rule, and yeah. So if they want to thrive, they better open up and allow for that freedom where people can show up uh,
Hmm.
in their best version.
So, what assumptions about entrepreneurship do you think deserve more scrutiny or aren't really talked about enough?
Um, like if you can you expand on that question a little bit?
Like the idea of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and to start your own company or run your own
Yeah,
business.
I think first of all, it should come from inside. I think entrepreneurship, they it can't be just that's a good business opportunity, which is also great, but there has to be a deeper purpose because that's how it grows. And so I think when you have that purpose, you also want to make sure if if that's what the world needs. And so when you bridge that gap and you bring balance between this vision and the reality, you can create a business. And I would say just every day I meditate, and my actions come through my meditation, what I should do, where I should show up, and what email to send. So I would say just work on that quiet time and get your wisdom from there to move forward. Because if somebody had told me how to build a team, if I had read a book, I didn't do any of that. At least the way I operated was from inside out. And so if you have an idea, if that's what uh, business is, if you have an idea and you feel that idea is actually going to transform people in some way, it's going to improve their lives in some way, whatever that may be,
Mhm.
go try it. Try it with everything that you've got. And if you fail, it's okay. You've learned something. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of what people will think of you. If you think your idea is going to somehow transform people, just go for it and learn and grow from it.
So advice is to kind of lead from the heart and look internally for what matters to you, what you're passionate about, and go based off that, not just what you think will have the best ROIs in the future.
Yeah, eventually that also
Yeah.
matters, but it's right, because that's, if there's no problem to solve,
Hmm.
then what are you trying to do? You
Yeah.
can't like fake the marketing. So it should be a real problem. And
Hmm.
somehow something you've invented or created or a process that you've come up with is going to change their lives. Maybe even just this podcast, for instance, is going to shift somebody's mind. Is creativity, is entrepreneurship. So kudos to you for doing it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about kind of the future and some hopes and dreams we have. What gives you hope when you think about how working culture might evolve in the future?
I really hope every single person on this planet gets to do what they love to do. I know that's almost fantasy maybe, but I want to live in that. And they are shining in their strengths. So you can just imagine a world where there's lights everywhere. Everybody's lit up, and we are all connected, because without each other, we cannot bring our dreams into reality. So I really hope work cultures allow for people to shine, and help them recognize their strengths, and understand everybody has challenges, including
Right.
the difficulties.
Kind of just recognizing everybody's unique spark and gift to the world, and a world where everybody could do the things that they feel called for and passionate about.
Exactly. I think there would be jobs for everybody
Hmm.
if we all did that.
So, if you could leave people with like one permission slip about work, what would that be?
Can you expand on that? I did look at the question.
Like, like a permission's like it's okay to do this thing if you weren't sure if that was like something that's acceptable, like a go for it kind of advice.
I would say just be authentic, and speak your truth, even though the other person might not get it. It's good for you. Authenticity is good for you, and you might realize that's not the workplace to be in. It might make you realize something through that process. So always be you. I would, yeah, that's the permission slip I would give to people.
I love that. It's authenticity is something that I've recently really been working on and realizing that it's safe to be who I really am, to put the flowers on the how we work logo, even if it's not the most professional, corporate looking logo, because it's who I am and what makes me happy. So yeah, I'd love more authenticity, more diversity. I think that would bring too diversity of mind and thoughts instead of conforming to this, corporate culture that is mainstream.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story and your insights. Chaya, is there anything else you'd like to share real quick before we wrap up the episode for today?
Um, Thank you so much for having me. I would say if you are a parent who has a neurodivergent child, and you're either just intrigued by what we're building, or you're looking for a solution, please go to play.sparkade, SPARKADE and you'll find a wait list there. So just log in, put your name, and just wait for our app to be released.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, watchers, for being here for this episode. I hope you gained some excellent insight that will help you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.